Aussizz Group. With me, I have Mr. Kamaljeet Singh.
Hello guys, how are you?
Hope you're all having a really good festive season because holidays are kicking in. I was wondering today, Kamaljeet ji, because for this live session, we can discuss about social work courses because nursing and social work and early childhood courses are really popular. So I thought, why can't we do a masterclass for social work admission so that students from either they're looking to do the diploma or the bachelor's or the master's, they can understand how they can crack the entry requirements for these courses because these could be a bit complicated. And then I thought further we can delve into the PR prospects as well and the skill assessment process as well.
Definitely.
Yes.
Deepa, I just got a small question before we start this course, sort of a discussion. Normally people we have seen, they are more keen into doing nursing.
Yes.
People are now going into teaching as well.
Yes.
Why would a person go into a social work?
Right. So as we all know that post-COVID, the demand for people who will work in healthcare and community care is doubled and tripled. Right. So nursing, yes, it is the most in-demand option, but we also know that there are not enough seats available for students to study Masters of Nursing or Bachelors of Nursing. If you're looking at Masters of Nursing, for example, at the moment, February 2023 intake is already full.
Yeah.
Right. And then there are not many universities that are offering semester 2 2023 intakes. There are only 2 universities. And from what we estimate, the seats are already taken because there were so much backlogs of students who are waiting for seats that the seats are already gone. So if you want to delve into nursing, especially Masters of Nursing or even Bachelors of Nursing, seats are very hard to get and you probably have to wait till 2024. But there is what students are ignoring is that there is also another option for social work where there is as much demand in terms of career. There is the starting salary for a social worker is about 80,000 AUD per annum. And there is really great PR prospects as well. I'm sure you can share more insights on that. So students are not looking at or prioritizing social work, but there are enough seats available now. So students who are disappointed that they didn't get into nursing can really look at social work courses as a solid option. However, students need to understand that the entry requirement criteria is a little tricky and they have to, but there are ways to get around it. And that is what we're going to be discussing in this session.
Definitely. So guys, basically, this social work sort of course is more related to community services, which is related to Australian community. And we believe is one of those courses which is second or third popular, we can say, after teaching and nursing.
Yes.
So again, as Deepa has previously mentioned, sometimes, Deepa, people are not more into nursing because maybe they are scared of blood or, they don't want to go into that kind of a situation where they see people crying and yelling. In regards to social work, basically, as you mentioned, the entry requirement.
Yes.
Let's start with bachelor's first.
Yes.
If a candidate, has done their year 10, they have finished their year 12 with a good sort of percentage. What are the basic entry requirements for bachelors?
Yes. Now, for Bachelor of Social Work, one thing that the students first have to understand is it's a longer course. It is not 3 years or 3.5 years like nursing. It is a 4-year course.
Okay.
All Bachelors of Social Work course is going to be for 4 years. In a way, it is good because you get longer visa. But if you have completed Diploma of Community Services, very likely that you will get 1 year credit. So that will become 3 years. But main thing that one has to understand is it is a little different in terms of duration, right? But when it comes to entry requirements, of course, you must have completed year 12 in your home country or in Australia, depending upon what kind of international students you are, whether you're onshore or offshore. And you must have a 60% aggregate on average in the best of 4 subjects. Those subjects can be anything. It doesn't have to be related to humanities or something related to arts. They can come from a science background, they can come from a STEM background to enter these courses. So when it comes to academic entry requirement, a decent 60% or above in the year 12, yes. Now, when it comes to English language requirements for this course, there are universities that can even accept you with 6.5, no bands less than 6. So 7 each is not needed to study this course. Unlike nursing, you can start the course with a 6.5, no bands less than 6, and very well complete the Bachelor's of Social Work course as well. interestingly, because it's a 4-year course, it is expensive because per year cost adds up, right? So one has to also prepare for how much is the financial expenditure for these courses. So the fees can vary between 80K for 4 years to 115K if you study in a bigger university, right? But so in total, 80K to 115K as the range. So that is the lowest it starts with, but it is very much worth it because you're getting a really rewarding career as a social worker. You're getting to contribute to the community. I believe it's a soul satisfying job because you are campaigning for someone's justice. And if you have that sort of a temperament where you want to make an impact in the community, but at the same time, you don't want to work in a hospital, but rather work in the society, right? In NGOs, in government organizations. This is a really good career for students.
Deepa, that's totally understood. Now, normally when we are saying that, we have to at least invest sort of 4 years of, our time period in this course, we have seen candidates who will be coming up from a background which is related to social work, okay, or maybe not.
Yeah.
So considering the credits sort of situation, especially into bachelors, okay, what courses do you believe are relevant that we are expecting? Say, for example, if someone is doing public health science, do you think there would be any kind of, those credits given to the candidate? Because if I'm doing public health science, I've done my 1 year, now I want to switch it to social work because public health science doesn't leaves me anyway. So do you believe there are any kind of credits which I'll be getting onto the course?
Yes. So there are obviously articulation arrangements and credit transfer processes. So if you study Diploma of Community Services or even Advanced Diploma of Community Services Sector Management, accredited course or a non-accredited course, you will be getting 1 year credit and you can enter directly the second year of the Bachelor of Social Work program. Right. So that is saving in time as well as saving in pricing as well. Right. So main thing that I want to really tell students is that Bachelor of Nursing for semester 1 2023 is already full, right? And really less seats are available also for semester 2 2023. But students can look into Bachelor of Social Work as a good option because it is also really a rewarding course in terms of career as well as PR prospects is as equal to nursing as well. And at the same time, one good thing is that to study the course, you don't need 7 each. You can study with 6.5, no bands less than 6 as well. However, for skill assessment, a 7 each or a comparable score may be needed, but you can delve into that deeply once we discuss the skill assessment process. But 4 years is a lot of time to improve your English and get that 7 each.
That's right. Yeah. So basically, there are possibilities where candidates are coming from that kind of background where they will be getting some kind of a credits. That's a good thing because we have seen guys, sometime because we are in Australia, we'll see candidates will come to us. They will say, my agent helped me in overseas and they've got me into this course. But when they found out, we never wanted to do this, or they never had that kind of knowledge that what this course leads towards.
Yes.
So it's always good that, we can get sort those of credits into that course as well. And considering the English requirement, Deepa, you've mentioned that with overall 6.5, no less than 6. Is there any other way out of it for the admission?
Yes. So if you start from a Diploma of Community Service level, then you only need 5.5, no bands less than 5 because you're starting at a diploma level.
Okay.
Right. So, and then because you've already done a diploma, you do not need to give English again because you've already done a diploma in Australia and move forward to the bachelor's. So obviously it depends on the level that you're looking to start.
Yeah.
Then there are workarounds and way around it. And even for Masters of Social Work as well, there are fixes where if you are falling little short of IELTS or you're not coming from relevant background, there are solutions around it. So that is why we are terming this session Masterclass because we want to help students who are falling in the gray area to sort of reach their goals to study social work. Right?
I totally understood. So, Deepa, sometimes when we are educating candidates in regards to any kind of a course, PR pathways are there, we are studying and everything. What I personally focus is on after PR.
Yes.
So is this course going to be beneficial? PR is one situation. Okay, we do understand that everybody's, pretty easy with the social work, but after we get PR, then comes the employment.
Yes.
So considering the employment status of social workers, in Australia. What do you say on that in coming future? How we are looking towards social work? That are they going to stay in demand? What kind of employment opportunities do the students have, especially who are coming straight into bachelors? Then I'm going to invest 4 years,
Yes.
Into this course.
Yes. See, as per the National Skills Commission's results, social worker is in the skills priority list. Now, the National Skills Commission correlates data about employment opportunities across Australia, right? So we can see at least a 20 to 25% increase in growth in terms of job market in the next 5 years. And as one thing about social work is that the course that you will be studying will prepare you for the job market, because every course will have at least 1,000 hours of work placement embedded into the course, right? And I've spoken to many education providers who I've worked with, and they have vouched for the fact that many of their students are getting the starting salary at 80K per annum. That is where they're getting hired. I think the most important part about social worker is that you can work across a broad spectrum of industries. You can work in corporate, you can also work in government, you can work in NGO, you can work in policy and decision making when it comes to the government as well. So it is very much where you're making an impact in the community, but at the same time, it is also very rewarding, and the job market is looking really healthy for social worker, considering that, when it comes to justice, as well as when it comes to mental health, and when it comes to social assistance, Australia is keeping that as a priority, especially post-COVID, because people need a lot of help.
I understand. And, basically what normally when we are dealing with candidates, Deepa, especially from offshore, people are calling us from India. Sometimes the students' parents are talking to us. PR is one situation. Employment is another. Once the candidate gets PR, especially if a candidate is going into bachelors, because, by the end, you'll be finishing bachelors, you might be only 23, 24.
Yes.
This is good, because this course is directly related to Australian community.
Yes.
And we do understand that immigration has got a very high weightage when they are considering any kind of application, whether it's a student or any kind of employment or any kind of applications. When dealing with government authorities, they do give weightage to Australian community. So this is going to be one of those courses, which we personally believe are going to stay in huge demand.
I think you touched on a very interesting point. Even at a student visa level as well, you can see that students who have opted for nursing, community services, and social work getting their student visas faster compared to students who have opted for other general degrees. That is because, of course, there's more and more demand, and department also wants to make sure that these demands are getting catered to. So you can see that, especially when it comes to India and Philippines, there is higher student visa grant rates, as well as there's faster grants as well when you are going into these particular streams.
So, everybody understands, Deepa. Now the point comes here, the hard bit is to get the admission.
Yes.
So as an educational counselors, we have, we understand that, okay, the candidate wants to study this course. Okay, he has got that many kind of, what are the things which can stop him to get the admission, so that if someone is in a process of doing year 12 right now, if you believe any kind of percentage is required, what are the reasons you normally hear from people, that they were not able to secure the admissions from, agents?
Right. So at a bachelor's level, things are pretty straightforward, right? Because as I said, if you don't have 7 each or so, that's no problem. You can have 6.5, and there is no specific, it's not like you have to study humanities or social sciences in your year 12. Even if you're an under 18 student, you can still start these courses, because there are institutions that can accept under 18 students as well. So at a bachelor's level, things are pretty clear cut. Mainly, but I guess the biggest hurdles are at a master's level. So if you are a student who's studying an MBA, a general master's, but then you want to pick your career as social work and you want to study masters of social work, at a master's level, obviously we'll have to talk about the entry requirements in detail, and also we'll have to look at what are the workarounds for students who are not meeting that entry requirement, right? Now, so that's why I think I can touch on the masters of social work entry requirement part. So masters of social work, guys, because the academic entry requirement is a little bit complex, because you have to come from a cognate background, a background relevant to social sciences, where the universities expect you to study at least 1 year of those units. So what are those backgrounds? Law, psychology, sociology, behavioral sciences, nursing, public health. So anywhere where you have studied behavioral sciences and psychology, law, and these sort of areas there for 1 year. So let's say if you have studied a bachelor's of law, if you have studied a bachelor's of psychology, if you have studied bachelor's of social sciences, if you have studied nursing, if you have studied bachelor of public health, then you can straightforwardly meet the entry requirement, right? For masters of social
work. Are
work.
you trying to say that we have to complete that study? So is it like, let's say, for example, if I'm doing bachelor's of nursing,
Yes,
but I haven't finished it yet,
yes,
or let's say masters of nursing, but I haven't finished the course yet, does that course has to be finished, or is it 1 year of study?
1 year of study. So it's like you must have done 1 year of units
Mhm.
in your previous study, whether complete or incomplete, as long as you have the transcripts. But those, you have to meet these cognate academic disciplines so that you can gain an entry into masters of social work, right? So a student who has studied masters of IT who wouldn't have these units, right? Or a bachelor's of IT, a student who has studied engineering wouldn't have these units. A student who has just studied an MBA wouldn't have these units. So that is where things get complicated, because not every student can hope to study masters of social work if you don't come from the cognate background. Now, when it comes to English requirements as well, you need at a master's level, you need 7 each, no one's less than 7 to study these courses. But one thing is that when you study masters of social work which is accredited by AASW, the Australian Association of Social Workers, then it comes inbuilt with 1,000 hours of work placement, which can solidify your chances of getting the skill assessment, right? So you have to make sure that it is an accredited course. It has inbuilt components for at least 1,000 hours of work placement. And at the same time, when it comes to entry requirements, you will have to come from the right academic background and hold the IELTS 7 each for you to qualify for entry. So, of course, Kamaljeet, probably your next question would be that leaves out a lot of students.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
what if they aspire to do masters of social work, but then they are not coming under these disciplines and these areas of study?
Because Deepa, the way the department is going on nowadays, they're giving preferences to nursing, they're giving preferences to teaching, they're giving preferences to social work.
Yes.
Now, if I'm that type of candidate that I don't want to do nursing because admission is full, I don't want to do teaching because everybody wants to get into teaching.
Yes.
Now, you've told me all these big requirements.
Yes.
I have to come up with this background, that background. How are you going to help me to understand, like, what should I do if I'm not with that background?
Right.
So
it's a very fair question.
Yes.
So what is happening is that many institutions have come up with a bridging program that is called Graduate Certificate of Human Services. That is for 6 months. So if you're not coming from a relevant background, then you can study the Graduate Certificate of Human Services, and that will lead to Masters of Social Work, right? So that is the workaround for students who are not coming from the relevant background. But guys, you will have to remember that even for the Graduate Certificate of Human Services, so for you to enter Masters of Social Work directly, you must have 8 units in the cognate background. But when it comes to the Graduate Certificate of Human Services, you must have 4 units from a relevant background, right? So it is still where you at least have to demonstrate some amount of cognate background, but the amount of units is only 4. So many students who are studying accounting, many students who are studying just business, they are able to go into the Graduate Certificate of Human Services because they will have some management units, some behavioral sciences units, some society and culture units, which will help them meet the requirement for the 4 units criteria, so that you can study the Graduate Certificate of Human Services, which is for 6 months, but it's worth it. Then you can go to Masters of Social Work. One more thing is that the Graduate Certificate of Human Services, you only need 6.5. Okay. You don't need 7 each. And at the time of starting Masters of Social Work, there is no inherent requirement for you to have the 7 each because you've already completed Graduate Certificate of Human Services. So in a way, if you're at the borderline, you don't have 7 each, but you have 6.5, you could still do the Graduate Certificate in Human Services leading to Masters of Social Work. And anyway, I've spoken in IELTS 6.5, but PTE scores are also accepted, equivalent. And hence it is really accessible for students to study Masters of Social Work. One of the examples that I would share is that a student had completed MBA, right? But the MBA had 8 units specializing in HR.
Mhm.
So HR comes into behavioral sciences. So the student was able to qualify direct to Masters of Social Work because the MBA had enough HR units. So course experts like us can help you decipher, can look into your course syllabus and see how many units would you have that comes into the cognate background and can best help you in gaining entry into these courses. So either Masters of Social Work direct, or you can go for graduate certificate in human services leading to Masters of Social Work.
Normally, Deepa, when people are trying to question us in regards to getting the admissions, people are from offshore, some people are onshore. Onshore, we understand the cases are easy. Offshore, in the sense, is some people who are from outside Australia, they want us to do their application while they're in India.
Yes.
They will ask us first questions. If, for example, if I'm going into bachelor's, you said a straightforward case,
Yes.
it's all good to go.
Yeah.
If we are going into master's straight from overseas,
Yes.
what, especially considering, let's say, Indian qualifications, what would be some of those courses which you believe will get them admission straight into masters, apart like they haven't studied anything related to social work?
Yes. So if you have studied still, as I said, those degrees like Bachelor's of Law, Bachelor's of Psychology, just Bachelor of Social Science, Bachelor's in Nursing, Bachelor's of Public Health, and sometimes, let's say, if you have done a BBA where there is human resources, HR units as well, then you will be able to crack the entry. Otherwise, then we still have the graduate certificate option. And let me tell you guys, there is also a couple of universities that does not look into cognate background.
Okay.
It gives preference to students who are from a cognate background, but you can study even if you're from a diverse background as well. There are a couple of universities, but the seats are only available once a year because the intake is only once a year, right? So you may have to wait a little longer. So I'm not discounting anyone out of the equation in terms of studying Masters of Social Work. You just have to connect with the right people who know, depending upon your profile, which university you will fit.
No, understood.
Yes.
So let's consider examples, which degrees I personally wants to ask is, someone is coming from Bachelor's of Arts.
Yes.
Do you believe that will lead me further into social work?
Right, because they would have studied sociology and they would have studied arts, which is relevant to society and culture, and they would have studied that at least for 1 year, so they will be able to go into the course.
Minimum 7 in each in IELTS will be required at the time of admission.
Correct. If you want to study directly Masters of Social Work.
Okay. So again, guys, this is sort of good option for those people who have studied bachelor's in arts or bachelor's in business admin, because those sort of courses are not that much relevant when we are discussing about PR options. But if that particular course can give us a sort of a background where we are able to secure admission in masters in social work, which is very strong sort of an option for PR pathways in future.
Yes.
But that is good. Difference between fee structure, of course, we understand is bachelor's and its masters.
Yes.
What do you think when it comes to graduate certificate? You mentioned Deepa.
Yes.
How much time and money we will be investing?
Right. So graduate certificate is worth it. I believe it's because it's only 6 months, but it helps you meet the entry requirement for Masters of Social Work. Right. And now the fee range is it starts at around $13,000 for that graduate certificate. And depending upon the university, it can be up to $16,000. But one way it is worth it, as I said, because it helps you meet the entry requirement, and also 6.5 is what is needed for the graduate certificate in human services. So and normally it is 6 months, whatever is the Masters of Social Work's 1 year fee, 6 months of that fee is actually the graduate certificate.
Understood.
So, yes.
Understood.
Yeah.
So I have to study for 6 months first.
And then do the 2 years of Masters of Social Work.
Okay.
So in total, 2.5 years.
It's not like teaching, like normally we do graduate diploma and then we get exemptions.
No, there is no credits here.
No credits.
No credits here. It only helps you to qualify. It's like a bridging program.
Understood.
That will help you to qualify for Masters of Social
Understood.
Work.
But still, I believe, guys, it's not that too bad considering it's only 6 months.
Correct.
Okay, more or less, because I'm choosing that kind of a study which is more directly linked to Australian community sort of courses. So it's always preferable if I'm not going into nursing or teaching.
Yes.
We go on to choosing social work. So I think that was it in regards to the education sort of sector.
Correct. Yes.
Deepa, many people might have questions. Before we proceed on to PR pathways, Deepa, I always ask people, who are in experienced coming with their, different institute you guys have dealt applications in.
Yeah.
What is the benefit of an education consultant or qualified education counselor in dealing your file?
Yes, a very important, pertinent question. So just like how this session has gone, we had discussed what is the straightforward criteria, and we had discussed a lot of tips and tricks on how to meet the entry requirement if you are not, if your situation is complex or you're not meeting it in a straightforward way, right? So mainly we can help with sound advice when it comes to how can you achieve your study goals and career goals, in terms of helping you with making the best application that can ensure that you have a place to study in your dream university. We can ensure that whatever relevant studies that you've done in the past, you can get credit transfer for that. And at the same time, in terms of preparing statement of purposes, also informing what sort of scholarships students will be eligible for, so that it can reduce the tuition fee. And at the same time, consulting them in terms of what is the right course, what is the difference between an accredited course, a non-accredited course, whether this has a work placement component embedded in it, what is the study pattern like, can you do it in block mode where you can do lesser units at the same time. So we are facilitators for students who are looking to study and achieve their study goals. There are a lot of these things, there are a lot of situations like this that we can help the student get the best outcome.
Understood. So, guys, basically, the role of a counselor here is to try to understand your needs, first of all, advise you not only about social work, but looking at your background. Different sort of courses will be discussed with yourself. Or, sometimes in some cases, Deepa, we've seen parents also want to be part of this discussion.
Yes.
Considering a rest of the other factors, like as Deepa has mentioned, what kind of classes are going on, whether it's online, face-to-face, what kind of mode is going into, is more sort of recommended that you should understand those requirements first, that what I'm looking into the course in coming 2 years, or if I'm going to invest 4 years, we don't want to get stuck into some kind of a course where we believe like this type of studies was not for me,
right,
because I had some other sort of, commitments left on.
I just thought, because obviously people will be interested in what after study, how can I ensure that I can get PR through social work. So could
definitely, yes, Deepa,
yep. Could you elaborate on the process in terms of what after study, skill assessment, what is the best state to study?
Yes.
Yes.
See, definitely, that was Deepa. First of all, thanks to Deepa educating us on the pathways and the structure of the course, how it basically works, what are the backgrounds, and what kind of bridging program can be utilized to take the admissions. In regards to PR pathways for social work, Deepa, again, after nurses and teaching, social work are one of those courses which are in a huge demand, because it directly deals with the asylum community. More or less, these courses is on a managerial sort of level. So you will be dealing with, people, especially into community course, whether we are saying, for example, youth workers. Okay, you are one of those ones who are managing those kind of positions. As a social work, I'll probably say it's a responsible sort of job, and that's why it has always stayed in demand. Considering the factors that it is going to be beneficial to the Australian community, we have seen for PR prospectus that, every single state has invited social work. Given that points, which is the minimum points is 65, even for 189, we have seen 65 points candidates have been invited from onshore and offshore. So that means, guys, people who have studied their social work and they have obtained their skill assessment and they have left Australia, they have also got the invitations for 189, given that 35,000 invitations were given anyhow, So we were very excited on that day when the invitation round was going on. Aussizz had more than 1,500 invitations given on. But it's a great sort of, I should say, Christmas gift for all the international students and the international people who were expecting invites for 189. For skill assessment, first of all, guys, skill assessment is a piece of document which tells us what is your occupation. So every single candidate who wants to go into a GSM category, which is 189, 190, and 491, must have a mandatory skill assessment. So skill assessment is given by authority called ASW, which will require minimum 7 in each. IELTS academic, again, you can combine 2 IELTS. They have recently made changes, but no less than 6.5 is required in the rest of the modules. So that is the basic sort of requirement. In regards to gathering the points, you can utilize PTE. Okay, Aussizz has always promoted PTE. You can go on to PTE tutorials.com to understand how basically the PTE exams works. If you are going into IELTS, we have got IELTS tutorial as well. So Deepa, if we are going into this kind of a course, mentally we should be prepared that for the skill assessment, I have to do IELTS.
Correct.
Okay, but yes, some people might have a question, can we do PT for the skill assessment? Unfortunately, no.
All right.
As teaching has got very strict English policies, because you will be dealing with Australian children,
Yes.
and they require people to be very proficient or superior English.
Yes.
Same goes with social
work.
work, because you are dealing with those kind of professions where you might be dealing with lawyers, or you might be dealing with the doctors or other sort of practice, where a high superior English is required. So you should guys understand that if you're going into social work, IELTS 7 each would be required.
Yes.
Again, as Deepa previously mentioned, for entry requirement of masters, 7 each is mandatory unless we are going through a graduate certificate program.
Yes.
But mentally, we should be prepared that yes, 7 each would be required at the end to obtain the skill assessment. In regards to state, Deepa, most of the states, I would probably say, are not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, considering Melbourne has been, number 1 livable city. Now they have recently announced friendly, sort of city in the world.
Yeah.
Melbourne has been. Of course, we are very friendly country itself. I shouldn't say only Melbourne. It's a friendly country. We welcome migrants. The way Labour government has announced 35,000 seats is a welcoming message to international community itself. After that, we have seen a lot many states, Deepa, started making changes in regards to 190, which is New South Wales is one of them. And we are seeing even states like, Victoria and Tasmania are also considering those kind of applications, where point systems are less. So in regards to PR, definitely, it's gonna be very easier for those candidates, who are studying social work and who will be enrolling to study social work in the coming 3 to 4 years.
Yes.
My recommendation always there is that you should be prepared, that your English has to be, at that superior level, that where basically a candidate has to deal with different sort of professions, which will require superior English. Moving forward, I've got one of the comment, Deepa, from Naveen. He says, hello, I got one question. My friend got 491 pre-invite from 491 in December, but now seats are almost full and still the file lodged in October and November are still pending for approval. Now, what are the chances of approval of state nomination because seats are almost full?
Big state.
To my understanding, Deepa, he's talking about Western Australia.
I see.
Looks like he has got the pre-invitations. Guys, I should tell you that the way 189 invitation rounds have been given, the seats have been increased for most of the states. We are expecting, because too many invitations have been given by Western Australia, we are expecting that, you might hear the good news soon. But as long as, I'll probably say, Deepa, this candidate has got the pre-invite, he should be more than happy, rather than we have got some other candidates who are still waiting on pre-invitations.
I see.
So depending on the occupation itself, we have to wait on how it's gonna go.
Sure.
Then we have got another comment from Shalin Parmar says, hello, can you please provide information regarding student subsequent visa 500 processing time and when will we go for medical examinations visa? I'll probably say Deepa, Shalin is discussing in regards to offshore.
Yes, offshore.
Candidate. Yes, so subsequent entrant.
So at the moment it is erratic. There are clients who are getting grants within 2 months as well, and there are clients maximum is 2 to 6 months is the time window that we are looking at. Now there are, for when it comes to medical examination, of course, do the medical examination first and then lodge the visa, because now you can, as you can know, that the e-medical declaration is available now, where you can take the medicals first and then you can launch the visa. So if it's a complete application, you can straight away get the grant, rather than the case officer coming back to you asking for medicals, right? So if you're applying for an offshore, I would say that first complete the medicals and then apply, so that you can get quicker grants. Some of the things that you'll have to ensure is, if you as a student, you're studying onshore, please make sure to attach your academic progress. If you're a good student, then your dependent is more likely to get the visa. And on top of that, make sure that your relationship statements and your the nature of your relationship is all consolidated in the form of your statements that you are submitting, so that, because the genuinity of the relationship will be called into question. So you'll have to make sure that you submit documents related to the nature of the relationship, the social aspects of the relationship, the financial aspects of the relationship, so on and so forth. And you can, if you're looking for help, you can approach Aussizz Group. We can provide you with a comprehensive checklist. So yeah, 2 months to 6 months, in short, the answer for that question, Shalin.
Okay, thanks for that, Deepa. Hopefully, Shalin, your question has been answered. Of course, it's always frustrating, Deepa, when your partner is offshore and you're, trying to calm them down over the phone. It's pretty annoying, and it's New Year's and stuff going on. Anu is saying chances of getting invited with ACT 190 at 65 points. Anu, I'll probably advise you to meet one of our registered migration agent in ACT. You should understand how the ACT works, how the metrics point system works. They will be try to educate you and try to assess your application in regards to getting the invites. But there might be some requirements which a candidate has to fulfill before they can get the invitations for 119 ACT. So I'll probably advise you that you should visit our ACT Canberra branch Aussizz Group.
Yes.
And MARN agents will be able to assess your cases.
Yes.
In regards to that. So Deepa, moving forward, we are seeing like now we are going on to holidays sort of situations. A lot many candidates still are planning to think about what would be the last sort of day you normally advise candidates that this is the deadline, this is where the university is going to stop taking the applications if we are going into this particular course. What is the last sort of date we are expecting now?
All right. So because this is not nursing, it's not that hotly contested in terms of availability. So availability for social work, for Masters of Social Work, as well as when it comes to Bachelors of Social Work, is available in plenty. Many students think that from the website, it says February 7th is the start date. So it's already I'm mid of Jan, so I stand no chance. Technically, students can still apply even 2 weeks. The last day for you to enroll would be 2 weeks after the course start date. Okay. Right? So there are many last minute cases as well that are possible. But one thing is that you must have the requirements, you must have the documents to meet the requirement. So you can aim for it, even let's say if there's a February 7th start date, even if you come February 1st, as long as you meet the requirement, you still have a good chance to get into Bachelors of Social Work and Masters of Social Work as well. But I always advise students that always be prepared well in advance rather than leaving things to the last minute. So if a student is looking for February 2023, it's best, I'll advise to start in the first week of January.
Understood. So yes, guys, maybe that tells us we've got time to think over Christmas and New Year's. Hopefully don't try to spend that kind of money, on partying and stuff, because now there's no lockdown in Victoria and we are seeing people are already to set up their Christmas, I think after 2 years. We were in lockdown. Everybody wants to get out and celebrate.
It is very festive out there.
Yes, that's right. And given that, Aussizz Group has got different sort of, I should say, helped in regards to PTE, in regards to IELTS, also health insurance. And one of the application, guys, which has been launched by Aussizz itself is Aussizz. If you are more into migration sort of understanding requirements and understanding what point system is working with, what kind of occupation is going on, Aussizz is the app which you can download, and you will be able to understand that how it's gonna work in future, which will be giving us sort of help how the market is behaving, and it gives you sort of up-to-date information in regards to scale assessment, in regards to point system, and how states are behaving, so that it's easier for us to basically assess our PR applications.
Yes.
So Anything else before we leave, Deepa, you want to mention our sweet audience who will be viewing this video, even, now, of course, it's party time, people might be already drinking outside, so
yeah,
they
it's
might be leaving.
available
Yes.
for viewing on our YouTube, Facebook,
Yes.
and on LinkedIn, where they can go back and refer to the topics that we've discussed. What do I want to say? I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll all are looking forward to a brand new year with new beginnings and new learnings. So I wish the the journey of an international student will get easier for the years to come, actually.
That's right, Deepa. Yes. Of course, we're going to be welcoming new students in February from overseas, very excited. I think this is going to be our first year after this COVID, situation, that we're going to be welcoming many students from overseas. Yeah. And hopefully we'll see you in Australia. If you are watching this video from offshore, try and share this video with your friends and relatives who need to understand the condition, requirements, and eligibility criteria to enroll into this course. For straight admissions, you can talk to Deepa. Deepa is our education director. She will be guiding personally if you are an offshore candidate. Yes. Means you are outside Australia. Okay, if you are in Australia, you can come and visit us in the office and we can help you from there. Yeah. And that was it.
Thank you.
From our side, Deepa.
Thank you. Shalin has a follow-up question, but however, I'll be dropping my number in the comment section so that you can get in touch with us. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.